Very well, so now we are gonna let our very own Postmaster, so to speak, take us away with some grim Fandango.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Piku, for that introduction. Hello, my name's Conception SR. You might have heard me yesterday on the hosting mic, but today we're swapping roles. We're going to be doing this runner style. So we're going to be running Grim Fandango here, which I ran a couple events back, but we've had a lot of changes since then, including the time dropping significantly. So I'm excited to get to showcase this again. I will say it is a strange game. It has a lot of quirks and glitches and stuff. Also, anytime I might have to pause the game, despite the game being in 4x3 right here, is going to pause in 16:9. So if that looks bizarre, don't worry about it. That's just how the game is. Anyways, I think we are just good to go to get started. So timer will start in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so Grim Fandango, if you're unfamiliar, one of those legendary 90s LucasArts adventure games, puzzle games, point-and-click style games. So think Day of the Tentacle, think, you know, the Monkey Island series. Grim Fandango is right there in that same zone. This one obviously involves some skeletons, some spooky things in a way. So we're playing as a Grim Reaper named Manny Calavera, but the world is a little bit different than you might expect. It's not like a spooky afterworld particularly, besides, you know, the creatures being a little spooky looking. Manny Calavera, while Grim Reaper, is actually a travel agent for the dead. He helps get people packages, as in travel packages, so that they can move on to the afterlife based on how well they performed in their real life, how generous they were, like if they were good of heart and all that. The problem is, for whatever reason, despite how good or bad a client Manny might be getting, they're all getting the lowest tier travel package, which means they have to go on this 4-year-long journey to walk through the underworld, basically to the gates themselves. You know, as opposed to taking the Class A silver bullet train right to the gate. So Manny thinks that there's some kind of conspiracy going on, and Manny very well might be right. So we're gonna get into that. You may notice as well, unfortunately, so this game for me has a lot of really great qualities. The main two, I would say, usually, besides, you know, like the actual like fun puzzles and gameplay, is the music is absolutely incredible. Just one of the best soundtracks in video game music, if you ask me. And the voice acting is also really good. However, we do have to turn the voice acting off to save significant time in the run, and that was actually one of the discoveries we found since the last time. Which is, if we turn off voice acting, we save about 45 seconds throughout the run. And especially in certain points, there's going to be one particular cutscene where we save 25 of that 45 seconds in one cutscene. And I'll kind of explain that when we get a little bit closer. For now, we gathered a lot of balloons. Looks a little strange, and you're going to see here I'm gliding across the ground. That's actually a key piece of speed tech that we're going to use throughout the run, which I call inventory gliding or item gliding, or just gliding for short. Basically, what is intended is that anytime you interact with an inventory item, be that you pick something up and then you put it away, or you take something out of your inventory and make it, you know, come out in your hands, your Manny is meant to stop to do that, and then you can presume walking. However, if you click on a transition point and then use an inventory item button, keybind for keyboard, Manny will continue to put the item away or take it out at the speed in which he was running or walking when you decided to hit the button. So that saves us a lot of time. You know, every time, if we had to stop every time for using our inventory items, this run would probably, it wouldn't surprise me if this run would be like double the length, because that would be a ton of stopping, and there's a ton of inventory items in this game. So yeah, we collected some balloons. Those are going to be a little bit useful later. And then weirdly enough, yeah, we just climb up to the top of our office building here. You know, just normal workday things. If you don't rope climb up to the top of your office building, I don't know what you're doing. All right, so first, that was an animation skip there as well. Whoops, jeez, that was my fault. So Manny has this really cool collapsible scythe that you can see in his hands right there. And it has a very cool yet very long animation where anytime he uses it, where he unfolds or folds it up. A vast majority of the times in the run that we use the scythe, we will be able to skip that by pausing during the animation. We'll make it so the animation doesn't play. There are going to be some times where the animation is part of the cutscene that we won't be able to skip it, so you do still get to see the cool animation, but yeah, a vast majority of the time we'll be skipping those animations as well. Not glitches, so please don't kick me out. Not glitches, just pausing, you know, I'm playing the game as intended. All right, so we're gonna pull out a couple of those balloons that we grabbed from earlier, and we're actually gonna fill them up with these packing materials. So what happens when people die and they need to transfer over to the afterlife, right? So basically, the underworld is kind of like a mirrored extension of the regular world. So what happened there is we saw that Manny went into an area where there was a body bag. It was kind of like a weird dystopian world where there was like weirdly shaped human faces and stuff. But then as soon as he opened the body bag, the person was a skeleton. So basically what happens is people get transported to the afterlife, and then a lot of times they end up packed in like coffins and stuff as part of their travel package. And that packing material that we stuffed in these balloons is part of that. It's part of packing them into coffins. We're not going to use that packing material as intended for coffins. We're going to put them in these balloons and shove them down the mail tube. And that is because we are trying to collect the mail of some of our coworkers to see if we can figure out why Domino, who works in this office here, has a lot better clients and are getting a lot more Class A packages than us. We're just trying to get some answers here. We have another really cool animation skip that saves like 3 or 4 seconds here. So we're gonna pick up this, and then while we're moving towards this door, we're actually going to put away the thing very slowly, making sure that it's put away before we cross the threshold. That skips this animation where this tech worker here on the mail tubes accidentally causes a fire in here and everything. So we don't have to see him like exterminate the fire, blah, 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 waste a lot of time that way. So we save a good amount of time there. We flip the lock so that we can be able to get in there afterwards after he leaves. We're gonna head directly in there. Open this up. And if you actually remember, so one of the very first things we did in the run while I was introducing the run is that I grabbed a deck of playing cards and then punched holes in one of them. And it's exactly for this point. So the air from the tube can still pass through while we catch one of the letters so that we can see what's up. All right, so this is Meche, who's in our office, who's our next prospective client. Meche, she was excellent in life. She has a heart of gold. She's, you know, she was charitable, she was friendly, she was lovely. She's still got the worst travel package, like the absolute worst one. She should be getting that Class A. That Class A package for the best people, but nope, not her. Not. Oop, jeez. That was weird. I accidentally tabbed out. Sorry if that messed up the layout a little bit there, but we should be good now. Yeah, so she was absolutely great in life, but she still got the worst package, and that's the last straw for Manny. Manny knows what's up. He tries to confront his boss about it, but his boss locks him away. So you know that means he's innocent, obviously. Tries to capture him. Luckily enough, this office building has an underground resistance. They've been onto weird practices for a while, and they want to put a stop to it. So we're gonna work with them. They broke us out of prison. We're gonna work with them to put a stop to all of this nonsense. This is Domino's office, which we need to sneak into to get a few things. A trophy, which we're gonna use as a grappling hook here in a second, and then this mouth guard. Which, unfortunately, we're going to use Domino's mouth guard in our own face, but also not so unfortunately if you realize that we're skeletons, so we probably don't have saliva. It's probably not that gross, I would imagine, but, you know, the rules are a little, you know, who knows. All right, so we use that grappling hook, we get up here. Now, the resistance group, they need to build their numbers, and they need to be able to more efficiently communicate across, you know, across borders, across the lines here. Oops. So now we need to wait for them to do that, and how else? What's a better way to communicate than through carrier pigeon? I've always said that. And even better, we're going to do Undead Carrier Pigeon, but we're not going to use some old established pigeons. We got to get them from the ground up so that we can give them proper training. So we're going to use one of the inflated balloons we grabbed earlier, along with some of the bread that we grabbed earlier. Now, these birds are going to get attracted to the bread. But in eating the bread, pecking it, they're going to pop the balloon and spook themselves. Voila. Leaving their nest vulnerable. We're gonna grab one of those eggs. You know, again, just all normal office things. You know, your underground, you got your underground espionage, you got your, you know, boss that'll lock you away, you know, just normal work things. Okay, so we're gonna head back down off the roof here. And we're actually gonna head into the garage where that we first went in at the beginning, where we met our friend Glottis. I didn't really talk about Glottis yet, but we will. Glottis is a demon, so unlike us, not a skeleton, he's a demon. Specifically, he is a speed demon. So, you know, I think we can all relate to that here in the speedrunning event. Glottis is going to be our best friend and driver throughout the course of the whole run here. So he's going to be our escape car. He's set up, he's on board, he's ready to go. We just need to get out. We got to get out, we got to do everything we need. Before we do that, before we escape with Glottis and all that, we need to get some more information. So with the reason why we use this mouth guard, we make a indent of our teeth because this was made in the 90s. Therefore, they thought computers would someday need, you know, DNA recognition in order to log on. So we're gonna use our old DNA to log on to the computers, you know, just like they would have, you know, just like they thought we would have by now in the 90s. And that'll be enough, and we can escape with Glottis. We skip a cutscene there where we take the car over to the woods here. We get a little lost. Glottis starts freaking out, weirdly rips his own heart out of his body, throws it. So we gotta put that back because we need our driver. So we're gonna head on over here. Luckily enough for us, we need some of these bones anyway. So we're gonna grab 3 bones and pocket them, and then a 4th bone. All right, and then the 4th bone. The 4th bone we're gonna throw directly on that spider web, and then we're gonna use our side like a slingshot to fling the heart forward. Another animation skip here. We're good. And boing. Very good. All right, so now all we got to do is walk back towards Glottis, put his heart back in his body. While we're doing all that, I would like to explain a little bit that how the structure of this game works, basically. So it's kind of like an allegory. As I mentioned, like the people who have the lower class packages, they have to walk on this 4-year-long journey towards the afterlife. And because Meche, who did not deserve to be put on this journey, is having to walk it, Manny is in search of her in order to try and help make it right. So therefore, Manny is going to be on this also very long 4-year journey. We're getting close to the end of year 1, and weirdly enough, in a speed tech format, each year has like one key piece of RNG. I think that's just coincidence. I don't think that's planned, but this is actually the point of RNG in year 1 here. It's going to involve this tree. Basically what we need to do is we need to make it so each of those gears are matching on each side. So like these 2 gears are on the same pulse and these 2 gears are on the same pulse. That's going to make the tree unstable, rocking it uncontrollably, therefore clearing our path. How we accomplish this is by running over the wires with this wheelbarrow. And then just kind of, it's all about being on the right cycle and getting it as quickly as you can. But it's a lot easier said than done. So hopefully we can do it really quick. I'm gonna focus on it a bit here. I use some sound cues for this. That was really slow, unfortunately. So got some bad luck, bad RNG there, slash I think there's a more effective cycle that I could hit there. I just got to practice that section just a little bit more, but you know, we still got by it, so I'm not too worried about it. If you notice, the first time we got in the car in this exact area, Glottis actually backed into this sign, which is perfect. So now that it's loose out of the ground, we're going to yank it. We're going to take it with us. The sign has an arrow on it, and in this next area, we're meant to solve this puzzle by standing in front of each of these like tree root areas and then following to where the sign is pointing. However, it points to the same spot every time to get to this hidden door. So as long as we just put the sign exactly where it needs to go, then we don't have to worry about that puzzle. Again, not a glitch, as intended. I would not deceive my fellow staff members that no glitches allowed, I promise. We're gonna get another key instance, key, see what I did there, of item gliding here. And I will talk a little bit about another key piece of speed tech that I'm gonna be using throughout the run as well, which is called tank transitioning. So I'm gonna grab the key here. Oops, there we go. There's our item gliding here, and then as I move through this transition that I clicked on, I'm also going to use tank controls to move through it. There are quite a few areas in this game that for some reason, if you just walk through the transition by just clicking on it, Manny will come into an area and you won't have control over Manny for up to like 3 seconds, 4 seconds sometimes. However, if you click on that transition point and then as you're right about to pass through it, you use tank controls on your keyboard, so it's WASD, but instead of being directional, they're more of how a tank would rotate. Then you can actually skip that little buffer, and because we do that so often, it saves us a bunch of time on the run. These flaming beavers here are in our way. These flaming beavers, of course, are attracted to bones, so what we do is we use those bones that we picked up earlier. We throw them in this, oil/tar pit, and then as they're getting ready to jump in for the bones, we use their fire extinguisher from all the way back at the office to extinguish them as they fall in. So that way we can take the car past the bone bridge and onto the next area. So one more, there's 3 beavers total. There's actually a little bit of RNG here as to how long they take to come up. Like that one was actually a faster one, but sometimes they can get like stutter stepped on this rock weirdly, and then just take a little bit longer than is needed or necessary. But that's all the flaming beavers out of our way now, which is good. Item glide, as well as a tank transition here, kind of back to back. We use that key that we got all the way back at the beginning. All right, skip a bunch of cutscenes there. And we're in an area now called Rubicava. Now, Rubicava is actually where year 2 of our journey is going to be taking place primarily. But right now it's just a little sullen, not very exciting. There we go. Over the course of the year, we're going to spice it up a little bit, and you're going to see what I mean by that. But if you remember, all the way back near the beginning of the run, there's somebody I pulled out of a body bag. And that person's name was Celso, and this is Celso right here. Celso, unfortunately, same deal, got the bad end of the stick travel package-wise. So he has to take this 4-year-long journey. In order to continue their journey, occasionally people will stop at points so they can make enough money to continue on, by transit or whatever the case may be. And that's what Celso's doing. He's working in this little diner so that he has enough money to continue forward. He's also looking for his wife who perished in the same accident, which is a poisoning at a diner. We find out this is a ship captain here, we find out from the ship captain that Celso's wife has actually moved on already. She came through here and is moving forward, so we're going to tell Celso that so he can go search for his wife. And while he searches for her wife, we're going to take over this little cafe. And that moves us right on into year 2. While we have a little cutscene here, a little break here, if we have any donations, plugs, incentives, anything we want to talk about Piku, now's a good time. yes, you definitely won't want to miss it, especially if you like my face, because I'll be the one conducting the interview. So, but yeah, you'll get to talk to Georgia a little bit, and just talk about how important the funds are and the work that's being done here. It's just all very, very important stuff. So, yeah, continue to get your donations in and support a wonderful cause, and then yeah, stay tuned immediately after my run for that interview. It's gonna be a great time. Oh, good. Well, good. Glad. That's, well, at least we still got it out there. Yeah, so stay tuned after my run for an interview with the head of Go Rescue, basically. So we are in Rubikava. It's the same area. It's just 1 year later, basically. And yeah, quite a few things have happened here. We have our own casino, but it's more of like a, we have a cafe, but it's more of like a casino cafe. And there's a lot that has developed. So basically we found out while we've been waiting here for Meche, because we assumed that we kind of like surpassed her, based on the fact that we have like a rocket car and all. But we found out, through the ship captain that Meche has actually also passed through here, and she's on the water, on the boat. And we need to get out of here. We need to chase her down. We need to go find her and save her. So that's what we're going to be doing. We need to get passage on a boat, but we have a lot of requirements before we can do that. So the main 3 things that we're going to be accomplishing is that we cannot get on the boat without being members of the Maritime Union. So we need to get some fake union cards, which is what our friend Charlie here is going to help with. Charlie deals in, fake cards, fake betting slips, all kinds of counterfeit materials, basically. The other 2 things that we need to do is we need to get Glottis tools, because Glottis is going to get his passage on the ship by being somebody like an engineer on the ship. So we need to get him tools so he can work to his keep on the ship, more or less. The third thing we have to do is that, unfortunately, there's only 1 open spot on the ship, which would obviously go to Glottis, because Glottis has the engineering background. He can work on a ship. He knows how that stuff works. We need to make it so that there is a second slot available to us. So what we're going to do is we're going to make it so one of the boat workers does not show up for work, so that we can then take their spot and go on the boat. So those are going to be the main 3 things that we're going to do. All right, so we're heading up here. We got a card, a VIP card for like the big casino in town, which is not ours. We just have like a little game room, for lack of a better term. We're going to go to the big casino, which has, like a track and all that. We get that card taken by Glottis, because Glottis, as good and kind-hearted as Glottis is also a little bit of a lush. He loves the drink. So come on, you good, Manny? Come on, there we go. So he runs off to get those free VIP drinks, basically. So we're gonna see him in a little bit. We also grabbed this gold bottle that we have in our hands here. Also, for some reason, there's this giant zeppelin. For the life of me, cannot remember lore-wise why this exists, because I have not played this game casually in some time. But yeah, the ominous zeppelin for some reason. And then, yeah, we have this gold bottle here. We're gonna be doing a little flirting with this security guard here, because she has something that we need, which is a handheld metal detector. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to drink this gold bottle, which is kind of like a Goldschlager, so think of like a booze with gold flakes in it, and then we're going to attempt to walk through a metal detector, which obviously does not work out too well. The reason why we're getting in trouble on purpose, though, is that so, we can, get more hands-on with the security guard, get a little close to her, so that we can get this handheld metal detector, which we'll need here in just a little bit. I always feel a little bit bad for her, because she's really nice and she genuinely likes us, and kind of like, and especially for speed, we have to like take advantage of her kindness a little bit in order to get this. So I do feel bad, but Carla, just know that you're a good person. This conversation, for a fun fact, if you play this game casually, you can actually extend this conversation out as long as you want, to the point where she like really opens up to you and starts crying and stuff. And I think there's actually achievement based on that, like for Steam or, you know, systems that have achievements and all that. So fun fact, if you're ever playing this game casually, which I highly suggest because this game is incredible. Because we do the speed run of it, we miss a lot of like the really, really good story beats, the great music, the great voice acting, you know, all the stuff I kind of alluded to before. So I highly suggest it. So as I mentioned, there's a track here, and it's not a track of like horses or racing dogs or anything like that. I genuinely forgot what the inputs there to do that fast. I did that really slow for some reason. Anyway, it's a track of giant racing cats. And when Carla threw the metal detector out of her window, she threw it right into their giant kitty litter box. So, giant cat food cans, giant cat poop. This game has it all. That's what I'm saying. So we're gonna grab that metal detector. We also grabbed a giant can opener. That's gonna be useful for later as we head into the VIP section of the casino. Up top, I talked about turning off voice lines, saving a lot of time in the run, and this conversation is a key part as to why. So because we're going to see a key item that we need in the run, we can't actually skip through text in this conversation. So it goes pretty slow. If you have voice lines turned on, you have to wait until the voice lines are completed before the next line happens. So when we turn voice lines off, all we have to do is wait for the text to flash on the screen for a little bit long enough to read so that then we can move forward. That saves a lot of time over waiting for the voice lines to play. And by turning off voice lines, we save about 20 to 25 seconds in this cutscene alone. He also does have this is Nick, by the way. Nick also does have another cutscene later that is significantly shorter, but it does also impact that as well. Probably save a good 5 seconds on that one cutscene. All right, can very quickly hope for a good cycle here. Yep, that was a faster cycle. For some reason, if you trigger the conversation with him again next really fast, you can skip this whole animation where he like takes a drag of a cigarette and stuff like that. Saves about 2 or 3 seconds, so that was pretty good. We're gonna grab his cigarette case here, as we so very clearly and obviously saw a key fell out of it, but for some reason when we try to open it up, the key is like locked behind a panel, so we can't get to it yet. But no worry, we'll take care of that later. We're gonna do a few other things first that we need to accomplish in this VIP lounge. So as we mentioned, Glottis is a lush, so therefore he likes to drink a lot. These are, you know, big giant kegs of, you know, whatever it is they're drinking. What we're gonna do is, unfortunately, we're gonna open the store. We're gonna grab this turkey baster, which is gonna be important for later too. Not important for right now. We're gonna item slide here just for fun. And then we're gonna keep this door open. We're gonna wait for the waiter to show back up. And then we're gonna lock the waiter in the door. That is because Glottis will get crazy without, you know, having more drink. Then he'll come in here himself and then just chug a whole keg on his own, which empties it for us, which makes it so that we get moved into the basement, which is where a key item is for us as well. And we'll even make it a little easy for him by popping the top here on our own. Now that it's empty, we won't be swimming in alcohol juice. All right, great. Okay, so this section is particularly annoying. So basically, Charlie, who we met up at the beginning, is going to give us those union cards that we asked for. He deals in counterfeits. We just have to get him something in return, which is his briefcase, which is hidden in a secret room that is attached to his elevator. So what we need to do is we need to have the elevator go up, and then while it's going up, we use this forklift to jam it into a secret doorway that passes like through the middle during the elevator ride. For some reason in this game, it just won't work sometimes. Like, there's no explanation for it. I think it's just frame dependent, and because this game is a little bit old, if your system is too good, or even like moderately good, like, not to say that I have like super awesome equipment or anything like that, there just doesn't exist a frame in which it would work. because it just, excuse me, no, excuse me, thank you, that was weird. It doesn't, a frame just doesn't exist where, you know, using the elevator would work properly. So sometimes it just doesn't work. Luckily enough for us, it did that time, but I did have a safety save in case it didn't. We got his briefcase, which, as we popped open there, is full of a Class A ticket to the afterlife tickets. That silver bullet train directly to the afterlife. So that's very suspicious. Why does Charlie have an entire case of these tickets? Like, everyone has one ticket, you know, for something, and it's bound to them. So that doesn't make sense at all why Charlie has a whole suitcase full of the best ones. So we're working that out. You might also be wondering, while Charlie has a gun on us here, why that would matter, because we're already dead. But I can assure you that despite us being dead and in the afterlife, we can still die. And we can still die from this gun, because that is not a normal gun. That is a sprouting gun. What happens, and we'll get to see this play out a little bit more later on in the run. Basically, our bones react with a specific type of fertilizer. And when our bones are injected with like this weird fertilizer, it causes us to like turn into a giant inactive shrub, basically, for lack of a better term. So if we get sprouted, which is what it's called when we get shot by the sprout gun, then we would die. We would not be able to move. We would be kind of just stuck in a permanent existence of shrubbery. Not good, not good. So no one wants to live that way. We use this exploding bomb chamber that Carla has for some reason to explode the cigarette case, that therefore we can get the key. And then we're actually going to head down this way. We're going to do a number of tank transitions here to speed through. These few tank transitions save probably like 7 or 8 seconds on their own because they're just so particularly long. We're going to pull out that turkey baster that we got in the VIP lounge, and then we're going to head into the Blue Casket Club here. We're gonna head in the back. Skip a little cutscene here. We're actually gonna fill up this turkey baster with this nasty hookah water. We skip a cutscene there. Oh no, I didn't skip it yet. We were supposed to skip a cutscene really quickly there, where we see that there are some drinks there that are made with this nasty hookah water, and it makes people sick, which is gonna be very important for us. But we'll get into that a little bit later. We're gonna pull out this key that we got earlier. We're gonna head to this lighthouse. We're gonna head inside. We're basically gonna skip a cutscene here where we witness the tail end of a murder. We don't see it actually happen like in motion. Did I not do that? Hold on. Excuse me? Okay, I must have pulled out the wrong item without looking by accident. Okay, that was odd. We're fine then. Yeah, we witnessed a murder. Basically, it's the club owner's girlfriend being murdered for not being too faithful, basically. You know, not good. But it gives us a nice piece of evidence, our next lead. We also see there the worker bees. So we give the worker bees a red book, which is basically about unionizing and coming together. So they decide to union because, you know, they're not being treated fairly, which causes them to, you know, not want to work, which is great because we need their tools. Backfires slightly because they union and then they get arrested for being in a union. This place isn't exactly fair. So we don't have their tools. Didn't really help us. But we'll cross that bridge again when we get to it. For now, as that woman was dying, she gave us a coat check ticket, which we come back to our cafe for the coat check, pull out this coat, which has a secret note in it. The note is a tattoo card. So what that means is, like, if you've ever been to like a tattoo parlor, or even like those ones for kids that are like airbrush tattoos or like face paint or whatever, they always have like a book of designs that you can use, and they have the little cards with each design on them so that I can easily like swap them in and out. We got a design there. And we're gonna go take that to the tattoo artist and see if we can figure out what that is about. Tattoo artist being down here a little bit. coincidentally for us, as we head to the tattoo artist to figure out what all that is about, we will also be able to make progress on getting somebody to not show up for work so that we can have their spot on the ship. Because our boy Naranja is going to be getting a tattoo in that same tattoo parlor. So we're going to be able to make some good progress on that. There is a very fast cycle I could potentially get if I click really fast here while we're transitioning. It's kind of like a frame perfect cycle. It just has to go really fast. I'm gonna focus on it here. There we go, we got it. Okay, so basically if we mash on the transition point as it's loading, we can skip a cycle where we'd have to wait for Naranja to get like zapped by the Taku gun basically. Saves like 2 seconds. We're gonna take this nasty hookah water. We're gonna put it in this bottle here because Naranja is getting his tattoo. It's hurting a little bit. He's trying to drown out the pain. So basically we're going to, it's not a poison, it's just gonna like knock him out, make him sick. He's gonna pass out, and we think, you know, we're home free. Naranja's not showing up for work, therefore we can take his spot on the boat. All fine and dandy. However, the tattoo artist, too good of a person. He's gonna call up the ship captain and say, hey, I got your boy Naranja here. Don't worry, I'll make sure he's up and ready for work. So we're just like, oh, darn. Okay, well, that didn't fully work. But it's still progress. We're going to go on Naranja's body here. We take his dog tags. Now, this is the only time we actually have to go into our inventory individually in the entire run. And the reason why we have to do that here is because we have too many items to be able to just use a hotkey to get to one. Basically, numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0 on the keyboard are all associated to items, and they're based on the order in which you collect them. But I have more than 10 items on me at this time, and I needed one that was past the number 10. Also, weird head glitch there. So I had to go in my inventory in order to get it. Yeah, that head disappearing glitch happens there every time, and I don't know why. Just a weird graphical thing. So we don't have a head, and that's fine. You're just gonna have to accept that it's fine. All right, oops. There we go. So we pull out this fake betting slip machine that we confiscated from Charlie. Now, if you play the game casually, there's a lot of like story beats that tell you what you're supposed to type in there in order to get the proper betting slip. However, because you know I've played this game before, you don't have to like follow the story beats and talk to people and learn stuff because it's the same every time. So we don't have to worry about it. We turn in this betting slip that gives us a reward here, which is a picture of Nick smooching the boss's wife. Can't do that. So we're gonna hold on to that because we're gonna get Nick to do some of our bidding. Head back into the VIP lounge and talk to Nick and see what he thinks about that. He probably is not gonna like it. So if you're keeping up, we're in year 2, which year 2 is the longest year by far, by the way. Year 1 and 4 are similar in length, and year 3 is the shortest by far. So if you're keeping up, by the way, in year 2, we have our Maritime Union card. That is complete. We still need to get some the tools, and we still need to clear a spot on the boat for us. So by blackmailing Nick, what we're going to do, because Nick is a lawyer, he's going to get the bees out of jail because he's a good lawyer. They take off to unionize. We get their tools. So that is now tools for Glottis and Maritime Union card complete. We're going to punch Nick in the face for good measure here because he's still not a good guy. Yeet. We got 2 out of the 3 things we need. We just need to make sure that we have a free spot on the boat. That's all we got to worry about. Okay. So we're going to head up here. We're going to pull out that metal detector we got, and we're going to head down here into this door, which is actually a morgue. A morgue for the dead. You know, for the extra dead, I guess you want to call it. And these are what it looks like when you get sprouted. These are two bodies that have been sprouted already. We're going to give the mortician a metal detector because that's going to be useful for him in helping identify bodies. Unfortunately, you know, one, it was the 90s, so, you know, DNA technology had not come as far as it had, you know, as it has now. So it's not like the developers knew about all that stuff. But two, this is also the afterlife, so they probably don't have the same resources we do. Now, we're going to take Naranja's dog tags. We're going to throw them on this body. And for some reason, that animation is really long, because if you try to throw the dog tags when the mortician is looking at the body that you threw the dog tags on, they'll usually be like, hey, what's the deal? But because it takes him a long time to like make that change, we throw the dog tags like right as he's turning, and it's like he didn't see them. I don't know why. But basically, because he finds the dog tags on this body, he now assumes that this dead body is Naranja. That's who he's identified it as. So he's calling the ship captain to tell him that Naranja is dead, not alive. So now that Naranja is dead, we can take his spot on the boat, though. So that's pretty good. And the best part is Naranja is not actually dead at all. So good stuff. How we another head disappearing glitch there by the mortician there. And then how we transition from year 2 to 3 here is we have to, one last little bit of unfinished business, which is in our cafe. We need to make sure our cafe is able to be run without us. And basically there is somebody at the roulette table who's cheating by using magnets and stuff on the roulette table to make the ball fall where he wants. And we're just going to make sure that that doesn't happen anymore by going up to this roulette table and turn that off. Now this is the RNG sequence of year 2. So it depends on where in the roulette section it is to see how long this is going to take. And if the magnet is off when you come on, then you'll have to wait a whole nother round so that you could turn it off the next round. And then it could turn it off again on the next round and still make it so that you're, you know, not in a good spot. So we're actually gotten like the worst RNG you can get on this section. And we didn't get our great RNG to begin with in year 1. So there we go. Now we're in year 3. Yeah, that was pretty bad. That was pretty bad RNG, but that's fine. As I mentioned before, year 3 is by far the shortest. Basically, we are able to take a boat, but we are being captured by somebody who is chasing us in another boat, and it's basically locked us in here. So we're gonna do what any good ship captain would do, which is split the boat in half and take the motor section. That's gonna go really well. So how we do that is we do this little anchor puzzle where we basically hook the 2 anchors, one on each side, together, and then we use our scythe here to pull the anchors through the porthole, hook it on there, and then we're gonna pull the switch on the other side so that the anchor yanks through the back of the ship. For some reason, when they wanted to hold us captive in this ship, they put us in the engine section, which I think was a bizarre choice. But, you know, can't all be as smart as we are, I guess. So we're going to use the tools here. We're gonna run away with the back half of the ship. And then, obviously it doesn't go well. We sink to the bottom of the ocean. Luckily enough for us, we're dead, so it's not like we can drown. And I guess Glottis can't either, even though he's like a demon instead of a skeleton. But good to know that he can't drown either. We're basically told that if we walk anywhere in the dark, we're going to be attacked by these giant monsters. So we're just not going to walk in the dark. We're going to use our newfound friend here with the lantern head. We're going to grab that, and we're going to give it to Glottis for him to hold up like a lantern so that we're safe. Easy peasy. Now we just have like kind of like a long cutscene little section, so if we have any donations, plugs, incentives, anything we want to talk about PQ, now is a wonderful time.
Of course, this time I'm also gonna remember to unmute my OBS so people can actually hear me.
Very good.
But yeah, we are no glitches allowed. Speedrunning marathon with features primarily glitchless and no major glitches speedruns. We host this event twice a year, and we are currently on our 8th installment, so yeah. Glad to have everyone on board. Thank you all to all the runners for making this possible, and of course, we are also a charity marathon raising money for Go Rescue. Non-profit, no-kill shelter. that we are gonna have a interview with the founder here up soon.
Yes, yep, absolutely. Yeah, thanks to everyone who's making this event as successful as it is so far. Thanks to everyone who is watching, everyone who is generous enough to donate, and the staff and volunteers that have made it work. So appreciate each and every one of you as a staff member of this organization. So thank you so much. All right, so we're brought in to this like underground mining camp, basically, for lack of a better term. And we find out, we skipped a cutscene there, so you won't find out that this camp and the person who has been chasing us is our coworker Domino, back from the beginning. And not only that, Meche has been captured by Domino here as well. So we're gonna still free Meche because that was our goal from the beginning, but we also need to get out of this, this mining camp so that we're not being held captive. We basically goad these little angelitos a little bit so that we can get their tiny little pickaxe. So that's going to be important for later. And we're going to head in here to a key piece of RNG that's in year 3 here, which is this little puzzle, for lack of a better term. Basically, what we need to do is we need to turn it, and we got the fastest cycle on that one, which is great. We need to basically turn that ashtray so that Meche accidentally drops ashes on her stockings, because we need her stockings. But that's pure RNG as to how fast or slow it can go, and we got the fastest cycle, so let's go. Finally, RNG works in my favor a little bit in this run, because it had been terrible so far. Alright, so we're going to be trading the little pickaxe and the stockings with our lantern head friend. And don't worry, they're fair trades. I wouldn't steer you wrong, of course. So of course we're going to trade him our tiny little pickaxe for this huge drill thing that he was working on. And then we're going to pull out the stockings, and we're going to trade him those stockings for a sprouting gun. Yep, it's all fair. It's all above board. Complete and fair trades. We're gonna go up to Meche and tell her, hey, we got weapons, we can get out of here now, don't worry. But spoiler alert, it's not gonna go well. Hammering through transitions, tanking through transitions at all these points, by the way. There's a lot of tank throughs here. All right, so Meche's been locked away in this little, excuse you, that's not what I said. Okay, let's see if that'll still work. Will it still work? Okay, yeah. So that was I hit the wrong button. I meant to pull out this drill thing. But yeah, basically she's been trapped behind this door. We're gonna use the drill on the hinge of the lock there. Put that away. And then it's a little lock puzzle. It's very simple, but basically we have to get all these tumblers on the side to have open gaps that face like the gap of the door. Just like that. And then basically we pull out our scythe, we slide it in where the tumblers are so that they cannot turn anymore. And then because of that, the door is now unlocked and we can pop through. It's a little slow puzzle, but it's all the tumblers there are also RNG, but they're, as to where they're positioned, but that's relatively minor, so it doesn't usually cost us a lot of time. We're gonna pull out our scythe here, because Meche is not in here, weirdly, but luckily enough, there's a secret hidden door that we find. We're gonna skip this animation. We're gonna try and do something here. Oops. Which is to pull this axe really fast. All right, we got it halfway. All right, that should be fine, I think. So basically, as you could see when I was pulling it in this room, when you pull the axe, it's very heavy and slow. But I did a little exploit, not gonna call it a glitch, a little exploit, where if you are clicking and tanking through a transition at the same time while holding the axe, you'll get your running speed while you're dragging it. It can save probably like up to 4 or 5 seconds in this section if you get it all the way through. We probably saved like I was gonna say we probably saved a second, if not for me having to slow rotate, so we probably like lost 2 or 3 seconds there overall, but still fine. So, Meche is free, but we still need a boat to get out. We skipped a lot of cutscenes in this section, but we actually at this point believe that Glottis is dead because he was thrown off like the edge of the world. You'll see it here in a second, how that this mining camp is kind of like at the edge of the world. It's basically on a waterfall that goes off the face of the earth. But luckily enough for us, Glottis is not actually dead. He fell onto the hull of an old boat that we're going to repair and use it to get out of here. And mainly we're going to be using it by getting these tumblers here. We're going to yank them out because that's going to be like our main motor source. Now, we're going to use our drill here again on this chain and bucket, but we're going to skip the animation. So you have to believe me that they're actually separated, but I skipped the animation. But just trust me, they're not combined anymore. All right, so we head back up here and we head back up to the crane view. We lift the chain and then drop the chain, lift it back up so that they come over here, come back down here, and then exit back down. All very fast stuff. Basically, we made it so that we have the chain loose and free now, as well as getting those, tumblers for a motor. And now we're going to use the loose chain to yank the actual ship up. So we're going to change the current. The chain falls down this way. It falls all the way down towards the anchor there. Then we pull the current back up so that the chain gets all knotted. And then coincidentally, that knotted chain, we're just gonna slip right over the edge of that anchor so that then we can go back up to the crane and yank the ship up. Another weird glide there that always happens for some reason. All right, so this is actually, we're confronting Domino, but we don't fight Domino head on. We take out his octopus ship by taking our scythe to the octopus's eye, and just like that, we are in year 4. Year 4 brings us directly to the gates of the afterlife, where we're told by the gate guardian, for lack of a better term, up here, that we don't have tickets, so we can't go. He hears our case, he understands, he sympathizes, but he's like, if you don't have a ticket, you can't go. I wish there's something I could do to help, but there is nothing I can do to help. So we need to get our tickets. We got to go get them. We got to get our tickets so we can get on the silver bullet train. In a cutscene there, whoops. I accidentally messed up that. I meant to pull out this little mug, which is full of that packing material that we used in the beginning. That's going to be important later. We're actually going to pull out this rag and go to this oil drum, dip it in oil, and then like any responsible person would do, take our oil-soaked rag and put it in a toaster. But because we put that mug with the packing material here, we're going to be reminded / show our little friends here that we have some rocket fuel. So that means we could travel using that quickly. One little side piece of information that's going on here is because Glottis has gone years without having been able to go fast. Jeez, I cannot say that if I tried. He hasn't been able to go fast for years, and it's making him sick. He can't fulfill his purpose, so it's not working well with his body. But luckily enough, we got this rocket fuel. It brings him back to life, and we head all the way back to Rubikava, where we were in year 2. Luckily enough for us, the game is structured in a way that it's not nearly as expansive as it was. So there's only a few areas in Rubikava that we'd be able to go to. So we're really not here for very long. We just need to grab a few items in order to get out. The first thing that we're going to grab here is some liquid nitrogen. Every tattoo artist has some liquid nitrogen, I guess. I don't know. Maybe that's something they use. I don't really know. But it's going to be important for us. So we're going to grab that. We're going to go say hi to our old friend, the ship captain. And then he's going to be like, you know what? That's it. I'm done. After all I've heard, I'm not going back out in the seas anymore. Which is fine. I'm glad that it hit him hard, so he knows how corrupt everything is. But the main reason why we go over there is so that we can take his ship in a bottle that he's been working on this whole time. Because we will be needing that as we head back into the blue casket here. We're going to fill it up with some Lumbago lemonade, which is a purple alcoholic drink. Please? Thank you. That was weird. We mentioned Glottis being a lush, right? So we're going to give him some of this lemonade because it's going to help us solve a very weird puzzle. Let's skip through all this text. So because he's a lush, he's going to overindulge. And that's going to make him sick. He's going to throw up, but he's going to throw up in a very specific part. So the reason why we can't really get out of Rubikava at the time is because our rocket car is trapped in a puzzle. Basically, it has an explosive trap to the back of it, and a room filled with dominoes makes it so that we cannot cross by, and if we knock over a domino, it will trigger the trap and explode the car. So basically what we're going to do is, by giving Glottis that lemonade, he's you can hear his tummy rumbling. He went a little too hard there. He's gonna vomit into the area with the dominoes, which you would think is a bad thing. Like, all that vomit's clearly, it's gonna ruin it all. It's gonna knock over all the dominoes. It's gonna blow up the car. And you would not be right, though you should be right, because that should be what happens here, but it is not. It makes a perfect coating over the dominoes, where we will then use the liquid nitrogen to freeze it over and make it so that we can effectively walk on ice over to disarm the trap. And our rocket car is free to use again. All right. We're now in like the second to last area here of the whole run. I can't believe it's going by fast, which is the office building that we worked in. We've come all the way back home, basically. The office is no longer what it used to be. It's, again, more of like a large-scale casino and mobster joint now. A den of nefarious activities, if you will. Unfortunately enough for us as well, we're too recognizable around these parts. We can't just like go into there, confront the boss, be like, hey, cut this stuff out, give me my stuff. We'll get thrown out instantly. We gotta come up with a disguise. So we're going to achieve two main parts of our disguise, which is to paint our face so that it's not recognizable, and also get some new clothes, while we're also going to get a weapon so that we can confront the boss. His name is Hector, and put a stop to all this nonsense. So we're going to be solving quite a few puzzles that deal with that. The first thing we're going to tackle is the face paint. So we're going to head up the ladder here. We're going to see that as a part of this like casino, mobster joint, whatever you want to call it, we got some dancers. You know, they're hanging out backstage, you know, just waiting for their turn to dance, I guess. We're gonna do a little sabotage here because you can see they got some nice face paint on, and we need that face paint. So we're gonna take a coffee pot. We're gonna go to the top of the ladder. We're gonna pour some coffee on the poor lads. It's not fair to them, I know that, but you know, it's for the greater good. I hope you understand. The drip on them, though, is undeniable. They absolutely have the drip, for sure. So they run away, which means that they no longer will be available for dancing, which means that there's a couple of dancer spots freed up, which is great for us because we're going to take advantage of that by getting our face painted like the dancers and then not dancing at all. We did, near the beginning of this like particular smaller area when we came back to where our office was, we did take a bone hand off of somebody who had been sprouted. Seems a little morbid, I know, but basically we're going to use this in the inverse of the sprout gun. We're gonna head down here, and you can see on the ground just below Glottis's car here that there's a little bit of green juice, and that's actually some fertilizer. In order to get to the florist, who is the kind of weapons dealer guy, we need to find out where he is. Basically, what we are meant to do is use our bone hand as a grinder and then grind up bone flakes and see them interact with the fertilizer juice on the ground. However, if we come all the way over to where the last one is, you don't have to follow the trail and waste all that time. you can just trigger the event by hitting the last stain. You have to take this part really slowly, or you will soft lock the game. You cannot go too fast, like start mashing buttons and things like that. For some reason, the game will just straight up soft lock. So we use the hydraulics on the car, we raise them up. The floor is obviously being guarded by a giant alligator. We need to take care of this. So the alligator's now turned around, looking at us now that we have his attention. We're going to pull out our hydraulics button again and stomp on it so that, you know, Glottis has got it covered with the hydraulics in the car. All right, into the florist we go. Excuse me. We're gonna pull out our scythe here. This is just a weird little thing. So the florist is hiding because he thinks he's in danger with all this infiltration going on. So he puts a thing over his bell so no customers come in. And then so what we do is we step out. We then step back in so he hears the bell ring and he's just like, oh, it must be customers, not people trying to kill me. I don't know. That's how it works. But yep, we get supplied with a gun and some sprouting fertilizer. Head disappears again. Who knows why? So we got our face painted. We got our weaponry. Last thing we got to do is get our clothes because I guess this puffy jacket is too emblematic of Manny Calavera. So we got to take care of that. We're going to head up. We're gonna head into the casino section of the game where we will see Meche, who is kind of infiltrating for us, and our old friend Charlie from back in year 2 as well will be available for us. All right, so we're gonna head down. We got the slot machines here, a little casino. Basically, we're gonna wait for Meche and Charlie to interact. Meche is acting like somebody who's interested in Charlie. We tell her, hey, it's us, don't worry. She has the sheet because they're getting ready to go to a toga party, so Meche is going to act like as a distraction for Charlie, basically. We throw the sheet over Charlie while he's playing this game, because basically Charlie won't go to the party until he wins some money at the slots. So what we're going to do is while he is distracted, being under the sheet, we're going to talk to our infiltrator resistance friend here, who is going to use his particular skill set to cheat the slot box to make it so Charlie wins money so that he feels like it's time to go. Long-winded process, but that's what happens. His particular skill set, as you can tell, is being half a skeleton. So he just climbs up the old deal, makes it so that the things spin to where they want, wins all that money. Charlie's pumped. He's like, yeah, look at all this money I got. Sweet. He grabs it all. Now it's time to go to the toga party, which I don't blame him. Like, I'm loaded. Now it's time to party. Like any good person would when they need to change, he changes into his toga and he just leaves his clothes in the bathroom. You know, like when you need to change clothes, like you just leave your clothes behind. Like, oh, I'm done with these clothes. I'm never wearing them again. I guess that's what Charlie's deal is. So we steal Charlie's clothes now that we got this nice little suit on. Here's another RNG moment I will explain after. I'm going to focus on it first, though. Okay, so I didn't get it first try, I got it second try. So what happens there? So this is the key RNG moment of year 4. Basically, we cannot head up to talk to the boss, Hector Lamans, without proving that we know Hector Lamans. And the door person there asked us a question that we would only know the answer to if we were friends with Hector. Now, the good thing is the answer to the question is always a number, and the number is on the bingo board that's behind our head. So what happens is the first go around, there's probably somewhere between 6 to 8 numbers that are placed on the board. And then the second go around, when it goes back to there, one of those numbers will either disappear or there will be a number added. And the number that disappears or the number that's added is the answer to the question. Now, the reason why that's RNG is, one, it's hard because there's so many numbers to memorize in such a short amount of time. So it's difficult, but also If the number ends up being high, it can be anywhere between 1 and 31, I believe. If the number is high, so say it's like 30 or something, then you have to scroll all the way to the end in the dialogue section to pick 30. So what you hope for is that not only do you get it first time, but it's a low number, so that you don't have to scroll. So that's the RNG section. I missed it the first time just outright because it was difficult. But the second time I did get it, and it was 2, so that was a really fast one, but it was second try, so it still lost some time. All right, so this is actually the last section of the game. Can you believe it? We're almost done. Keep going, Manny. We are already almost done. I can't believe it. Hector runs away now knowing that we're kind of onto him. He hides out in this greenhouse. We try to go to the greenhouse to confront him. Doesn't go well. He attempts to sprout us. He shoots us, but luckily enough for us, we have a little liquid nitrogen left that we cauterize our wound with so that the fertilizer doesn't spread throughout our bones. So that worked out. Now we head back down here. Our resistance leader friend was taken out as well. He was actually killed, but his head still lives. So that's good that, you know, he was able to, you know, with his last breath, save us and figure out where we need to go to next. We need to get into his trunk, basically. This is his car, to get some weaponry so that we can take on Hector. But we don't have the keys to his car. However, when we open up the briefcase to get our scythe, a ticket pops out that belongs to him. So we basically follow it around the compound until we find out where his body is buried, which is where his keys are going to be. Luckily enough for us, again, like most things, it's in the same spot every time. So head around to the back here of the building. Yeah, this can happen sometimes. It is in the same spot every time, but if you don't hit it just right, there we go, then it won't pop for some reason. That happens occasionally, but we got there eventually. All right, for some weird reason too, you can do the animation of searching his body while you're moving. I don't really know why. So we got his keys while we're already moving towards the trunk, which saves us a little bit of time. I will say time is coming up very soon. So get ready on that, staff members. All right, so we head to the back here, go in the trunk. Got a gun with some ammo, but we're not going to use it in the way that you think we're going to use it. We're going to use it a little differently here. We're going to head on over to this area here. As we mentioned, Hector is trapped himself in a greenhouse. Greenhouses naturally filled with fertilizer, right? So we're not going to take him head on with a gun. We'd probably die. He's a mobster after all, and we're not somebody who uses weapons like that regularly. So instead of that, we're going to use the gun on this fertilizer tank so that the greenhouse fills with fertilizer, therefore taking out Hector. All right, time's coming up on the last input here, so get ready. And time. There we are. That is Grim Fandango Remastered. I highly suggest everyone play this game casually. It's a wonderful game. Here, we'll skip so we can see some Afterlife stuff here. Wonderful game to play casually, wonderful story. The remaster was done by Double Fine, so of, you know, Psychonauts fame and games like that, you can kind of tell in the art style that they were inspired by that. So yeah, highly suggest if you play this game. It's wonderful. Very cheap as well, and available on pretty much any platform. If you're interested in learning to speedrun it, we don't have like an active Discord or anything. Feel free to just reach out to me, Conception SR. I'll be happy to give you any resources you might need if you'd like to learn how to speedrun it. You will probably have to do it on PC to get a really fast time, because there are some exclusions that you know, about key bindings and stuff like that. But other than that, yeah, enjoy the rest of the event. Stay tuned for the interview with Georgia Omenhouse, the head of Go Rescue, and I will see you later on, both as a host and a runner later in the event. So enjoy the rest of the marathon.
I got a new job and all these new
Thanks so much for Conception. Instead, we are going to go into a short intermission break here to set everything up for the interview, and we will be right back. Found herself.